I will say President Kennedy held 65 press conferences during his shortened presidency. President Biden is currently at 22 so far, and at this rate, he's not going to catch up. Certainly not by the end of this year, maybe not by the end of next year. And meanwhile, I have to figure that President Biden would envy the size of the audience that President Kennedy got. 65 million people watching the first press conference. There's basically nothing that the president can do these days that will attract that kind of audience because, in part, because the American media landscape is so diffuse. So just to set the table a little bit more, I want to ask President Kennedy why this all matters. In the clip we're about to see, he's asked how he feels about his press coverage. And he compares his experience with a free press to that of the Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev.
There's a terrific disadvantage not having the abrasive quality of the press applied to you daily to an administration. When you have, even though we never like it, and even though we don't, even though we wish they didn't write it, and even though we disapprove, there isn't any doubt that we couldn't do the job at all in a free society without a very, very active press. Now, on the other hand, the press has the responsibility not to distort things for political purposes, not to just take some news in order to prove a political point. It seems to me their obligation is to be as tough as they can on administration, but do it in a way which is directed towards getting as close to the truth as they can get, and not merely because of some political motivation.
And I would say, Doug and Darlene, many of the presidents we have collectively covered would share that viewpoint or would express it similarly, but not all of the presidents we've covered.
True.
Very true.
I mean, there's always a love-hate relationship between presidents and the press who cover them. It's time immemorial. That's the foundation.